Hey, how's it going? We're going to take a look at trigonometry with right triangles. What we need to remember when we take a look at this, hopefully last year you guys went over sine, cosine, and tangent. And real quick, I'm just going to draw on a right triangle here. I'm going to use that angle right there as my theta. This is the opposite side to theta, adjacent side to theta, and hypotenuse. Now to find the sine of an angle, this angle you're going to take opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine of an angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent of an angle is opposite over adjacent. Now these three trig functions you probably did not go over last year. Cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Cosecant is a reciprocal of sine, so it's going to be hypotenuse over opposite. Secant is a reciprocal of cosine, hypotenuse over adjacent, and cotangent is a reciprocal of tangent, adjacent over opposite. Now we're going to evaluate the six trig functions of this triangle, and I'm going to put theta right down here. Put it up here if you want. I'm just putting them down there. What we do need to do is we need to figure out what the hypotenuse is. And that we are just going to take 7 squared plus 24 squared. That's going to equal, we'll call it h squared for our hypotenuse. That's going to be 49 plus 576 equals h squared. 25 equals h. So my hypotenuse is 25. Now we're going to go ahead and write those in. Sine of theta is 7 over 25. Cosine of theta is 24 over 25. Tangent is 7 over 24. Cosecant is reciprocal of sine. Secant of theta is the reciprocal of cosine. And finally, cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, which is going to be 24 over 7. You're going to do the same thing over here. What we need to figure out is this side over here. And if you were to take 8 squared, we'll call this b. b squared equals the square root of 89 squared. b, when you simplify that, ends up equaling 5. Now you're going to do the same thing. By the way, theta's here. 8 over square root of 89. And when you rationalize that, you get 8 square root of 89 over 89. Cosine of theta. 5 over the square root of 89. You rationalize that, you get 5 root 89 over 89. Tangent. 8 over 5. Cosecant. Reciprocal. Square root of 89 over 8. Secant, square root of 89 over 5, and finally, cotan is 5 over 8. Now here you have, if theta is an acute angle or a right triangle, and cosine theta is 3/8, what is the value of either 5? So I'm just going to go ahead and draw on a right triangle. There's theta. That means this side is 3 and this side over here is 8. What you have to do is you have to figure out what I'm going to call A. A is going to be equal to the square root of 55. Do the same way we did up here. Sine theta is square root 55 over 8. Tangent theta is going to be the square root of 55 divided by 3. Cosecant, 8 over the square root of 55. There's your rationalized answer. Secants are reciprocal of cosine, so it's 8/3. Cosecant is going to be 3 over root 55. Which is 3 root 55 over 55. Well, here we're going to find x and y. If I want to find x, I need to take the sine because x is, sine is the opposite angle over hypotenuse. Sine of 38 equals x over 7 root 2. Now you have to multiply both sides by 7 root 2 to get the x by itself. Put that in your calculator. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. 6.095. That's a long axis. I would do the same thing with cosine to find out y. Multiply both sides by 7 root 2, kind of times the cosine of 38. Y is going to equal 7.801. Given triangle ABC, solve for the missing parts if you have angle B is 62 and side A is 10. So this is 10. That angle right there is 62 degrees. Okay. Now, if you do a little math, like 90 minus 62, that gives you angle A, which is 28. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out, first of all, I'm going to find out side B. Side B is going to be the cotangent of angle A equals B over A. So the cotan of 28 degrees equals side B over 10. Now when you put that in your calculator, you should get 18.808. Now I'm going to figure out side C. Again, you can use any trig function you want. I'm going to use the cosine of 28 equals 18.808 divided by C. Now when you put this in your calculator, you should get 21.301. Again, all you have to do is put that in the calculator. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Hiking towards a main road, but reach a point where the road is flooded. To avoid the flooded area, you turn on a diagonal road that meets the original road at 48 degrees and follow it for 3.6 miles. So here you are, out on a walk. There's a flood. You have to go on a diagonal road. That angle right there is 48 degrees. This distance is 3.6. They're asking you to find that distance right there, which I'll call x. Call it anything you want. I got x. Cosine of an angle is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the cosine of 48 equals x over 3.6. Multiply both sides by 3.6, and you have cosine of 48 equals x. X equals 2.409 miles. On the Inspire calculators, by the way, to find a trig function, you're just going to hit that button right there. It's to the left of the 7. Now, two special right triangles, 45, 45, 90. This side is x, or excuse me, this side is 1, this side is 1. Hypotenuse is 2. You can also view this as x, and the square root, root 2x, or x times the square root of 2. It's up to you. Whatever makes most sense to you. 45-degree angle here, which means this here is also 5 units long. This is going to be 5 times the square root of 2. Here's your hypotenuse, 8 times the square root of 2, which means, oh, by the way, if these are the same, that means your angles are 45. Those two sides there are 8. You're going to take 8 root 2 over 2 to get those two sides. Now in this one, I'm going to take 10 root 5 divided by 2, or square root of 2. Multiply top and bottom by the square root of 2. And you have 10 root 10 over 2, which is 5 root 10. That's how long these two sides are right there. Now, the other special right triangle that you have to know is the 30, 60, 90. This side is 1 or 1x. This side is 3 or root 3 times x. And this is 2 or 2x. Now, the 60 degrees should be right here, and that's 5. That's 30. So if this side is 5, this side over here is 5 root 3. And this side here is going to be 10. 60 degrees is up here, and my hypotenuse is 12. Sorry how that worked out. The hypotenuse is 12. The opposite side of 30 degrees is 6. And this is going to be 6 times root 3. Degrees, right triangle. To find this side, which I am going to call x, that is going to be 6 root 2 divided by root 3. 6 root 6 over 3. 2 root x. So x is 2 root 6. I'm going to double that to get the hypotenuse, which I'm going to call y. Y is going to equal 4 root 6. Now here's our introduction to trig, values of special right angles. Sine of 30 degrees is a half. Look right here. Sine of 30 degrees is 1 over 2. Sine 30, 1 over 2. Opposite over adjacent. Cosine of 30, adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan of 30, opposite over adjacent. And when you rationalize that, you get root 3 over root 3. Cosecant is the reciprocal of 30, or excuse me, the reciprocal of sine 30, so it's going to be 2. Secant is the reciprocal of this, so that's going to be 2 root 3 over 3 once you rationalize it. And cotan of 30 is going to be root 3. Think of 30 degrees as pi over 6. That's a radian. 45 degrees, that's pi over 4. 45, 45, 90. Sine is going to be opposite of our hypotenuse, so 1 over root 2. Rationalize, you get root 2 over 2. Cosine is the same thing. Tangent's 1 because 1 divided by 1 is 1. Cosecant is root 2. Secant is root 2. Cotan is 1. Now sine is 60 degrees. Root 3 over 2. Oh, by the way, this is root pi over 3. Cosine is a half. Tangent is root 3. Secant is 2 root 3. Cosecant is 2 root 3 over 3. Secant is 2. And finally, cotan is not 1. It should be a 2. I'm sorry. That should be... Got the wrong one. Got the wrong one. Root 3 over 3. All right. Let me know if you have any questions on special right triangles and trig functions. Whoop, whoop.